This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and hello. Whatever time it is with you and wherever you are, thank you for downloading this SmackDown review as part of the WWE podcast. It's absolutely fab to have you listening along once again. Thank you for your positive reviews on my show from last week. As I said, it is much appreciated. So, Money in the Bank 2024 is now in the book. And it's pretty fair to say that my predictions were somewhat wide of the mark. I got 2 from 5, so clearly must try harder with my predictions. I was really pleased to see our girl Tiffany Stratton land a ladies' Money in the Bank contract. And what a match that was. I'm pretty sure they're still looking for Chelsea Green's soul after she took that epic bump from the top of the ladder to the outside through the tables. Wow, what a bump that was. It has to be said that the ladies' match was definitely a little botchy, to say the least, and some of the spots were terrifying. I'm thinking specifically Zoe Stark nearly giving herself a lobotomy on the edge of the ladder when she came in off the ropes. In my opinion, though, botches aside and terrifying watching through your fingers aside, I think it was the best match of the night. Really, really enjoyable. Of the rest of the card, although I'm glad to see Sammy retain, I'm not really sure where he goes from here and what his story is. I think we're done with Gable, so obviously we need some kind of new feud there. I think, predictably, obviously the Bloodline beating Cody, Randy and KO. However, I don't think I had expected, I don't know about you guys, but I hadn't expected Solo to be pinning Cody so cleanly. So again, that gives us a signpost of where we're going there. And then the men's Money in the Bank match, well, I 100% groaned out loud, legitimately, when Drew won the briefcase. As I mentioned last week, not a big Drew fan. Don't know why. Never have been. Just he doesn't do it for me. He tweeted out during the event he'd won the case and remember what he'd promised. So I think we all knew what was coming. So predictably, he came down to cash in during the Seth and Damian match. And I was so happy to see him get screwed by Punk. I'm a massive Punk fan, always have been. Was so happy when he came back to WWE, so I'm 100% certain that I'm biased here, but I love Punk. Was really happy to see him get screwed again, and I think the whole of this storyline is epic, and the descent of Drew into some kind of conspiracy theory nutjob is absolutely spot on. Really enjoying it. I think Matt said this week in his review of Money in the Bank that the post shows and the press conferences are becoming must-watch TV as well and are not to be missed. And I 100% agree with that. I've found myself watching the last few, and that's not something that I've ever done before. I've never really been interested in post shows, pre-shows, press conference, etc. But I find myself consuming as much as I can around all of these events at the moment. I don't know if you guys saw the post show where Drew came up to the desk and was screaming and shouting, and you know, descending into madness when he then tries to fight Adam Pearce, resulting in him getting suspended and fined. It's all just layer upon layer of extra story, and I am completely here for it. And I absolutely love it, and I'm really enjoying the storytelling around all of this at the moment. I don't know if you guys also saw, but there was a bit released on WWE Digital where Chelsea Green comes into the press conference room. There's nobody there at all, and she's giving a fake press conference. They're obviously trying to kid on that she's so delusional and concussed from her epic bump. That was also another fun little bit, which is another layer of all this great storytelling. So all in all, loved Money in the Bank. Solid 3 out of 5, in my opinion. And oh my goodness, guys, I didn't even mention Cena. We didn't even touch it. So Cena's announcement, he's retiring. I think it's great that he's getting to have a farewell tour. I think it's nice that he's not another victim of being medically retired and that's the end of his career. It seems only fitting that, as certainly one of the greats, in my opinion, he should be able to enjoy a year plus of saying goodbye, giving his fans what they want and everyone the opportunity to see him one last time. Really interested to see how this plays out. I think there might be an angle with Punk in there as well, so obviously that will be fantastic. But that was a surprise. I didn't see that coming. So that was another element of the show which I thought was fantastic. Anyway, I hope you have had a good week. And I should probably retract my statement from last week, where I said our English football or soccer team was pretty much stuck in, as we've somehow made it to the final of the Euros, which at the time of recording this podcast is tomorrow, which is Sunday, where we will take on Spain. And I'm going to resist the urge to say it's coming home, which I think drives all of the other home nations absolutely insane. Good luck to the guys. Let's hope you can do what the Lionesses have already done. So, please give me a follow on Twitter or X. I am at AmandaSDPod. That's at AmandaSDPod. We can have some chat, some banter during the week while we're waiting for SmackDown. Always a pleasure to interact with you guys on there. So, with all that being said, we move on to the reason I know you're all here, which is the review of SmackDown, which aired Friday, 12th of July from Worcester. And we have a Worcester here in the UK, so I've gone with saying it exactly the same, and hopefully that is correct. If not, I'm sure somebody can correct me. So tonight, the show opens with a picture earlier of Cody walking around the arena and staring off into the middle distance. And we are reminded that Money in the Bank was the first time since becoming champion that Cody had been pinned, which was a fair point. We then go backstage where we see DIY, our new tag team champs, arriving. And it looked like Tommaso Ciampa was wearing some kind of Dunkin' Donut onesie. I don't know if that means something. It probably does. Maybe, I don't know, it's something to do with where they are or where he's from or something. If not, it was an interesting choice of clothing, but it was a bit lost on me. So if anyone wants to let me know what that was about, if it was about something, please let me know. Always looking to improve my knowledge on these things. They're here because we have got the rematch. So we've got Waller and Austin Theory, and a rematch with DIY later on in the night. So as we start things off officially tonight, we get an introduction of the new Women's Money in the Bank contract winner, our girl Tiffany Stratton. And as Tiffany's music hits, she gets a massive pop, and she comes down to the ring. We get Corey and Wade telling us that she was odds-on favourite to win the Money in the Bank. I'm not sure that was completely true. I'm not a betting woman, but I'm not sure it was that cut and dry. But as you know, she was my pick, and I didn't have many successful picks, so I'm happy she won, and I think we're all pretty happy about it. She gets to the ring, starts cutting a promo, telling us about last Saturday, where she became the youngest ever Women's Money in the Bank winner. And the whole WWE universe has started running on Tiffy time, which is just brilliant. Love that. She makes another dig at Trish. So it definitely looks to me like we might be heading for a Tiffy Trish match, which I think is cool. I think that will help get Tiffy over even more. Not that she needs the help. She puts all 3 women's champions on notice, which is interesting and also fun because she's included the NXT champion in there, which I think is a nice thing. She is interrupted by Bayley, who, judging by her outfit this evening, is channeling her inner Mickie James. I thought it was a very Mickie James-esque outfit. Bayley congratulates Tiffany, who in typical Healy form is not at all interested. Bayley reminds her that she won Money in the Bank 2019, whilst at the same time getting a dig in that Tiffany probably didn't even know what WWE was in 2019, which I absolutely loved. Bayley warns Tiffany that if she tries to cash in on her, she'll make history for a second time, being the first woman to have failed her cash-in. Burn. And then down comes Nia Jax, and oh my word, does she get a boo. The crowd are not loving Nia here. She's out here to remind Bayley that Nia is the Queen of the Ring, and they will have a match at SummerSlam. Spoiler alert, I feel like she will definitely win at SummerSlam. Nia, that is. Again, as we know, my predictions are not that reliable, but I do feel that potentially Nia is going to take the belt from Bayley. Bayley comes back with some teeth here and says, "Don't confuse me with Hugger Bayley or the Bayley you put in on the shelf in 2017. This is Grand Slam Bayley, different version of Bayley." Nia then calls Tiffany Stratton her own personal Barbie doll, which is possibly one of the weirdest things I've heard on WWE recently, and Bayley, her victim. Tiffy and Nia start to beat down Bayley, and Michin comes out to make the save, which is odd. I was expecting to see Naomi, but we've obviously switched lanes there. This was a great segment. Tiffany is going to be predictably brilliant with the suitcase. I was expecting it to be covered in diamantes, bejazzled and coloured pink, but she didn't do that yet, so that's good. And it's also nice to see Bayley actually getting her teeth into doing something good and interesting and doing some good talking, because she is a great talker. I hope that this is the start of WWE doing more with her and giving her a bit more oomph in her title reign, which so far has been very much meh. As we come back from the break, we get a quick reminder of the insanity that was the women's Money in the Bank match. And then we cut backstage to Chelsea and Piper. Chelsea Green is brilliantly, and I mean obviously in the character of Chelsea, wearing a decorated diamante studded neck collar, and she rejects Byron Sexton's request for an interview, saying the world is calling her the Mother of Mayhem and the Princess of Pain, and she's waiting for Nick Aldis to answer her question. Byron seems to start to say that Nick isn't here, but Piper shoos him away. I love these two. They're such a great comedy act. We come back to the ring, and our first match is starting between Michin and Nia Jax. Bayley and Tiffy are both at ringside. In the early goings, Michin gets in some good offence, but things soon change to Nia's favour. Wade reminds us that Michin has recently had a great run in NXT. And as I said last week, I don't follow NXT. I know, obviously, I was aware that Michin had spent some time there in, I think, some kind of tournament, but we're reminded of that. Nia pulls off her butt wiggle in the face on Michin, which pulls off one of Michin's eyelashes, which is the horrific. The crowd are not loving Nia, chanting "You still suck," but Nia continues to beat down Michin. Nia gets her up on her shoulders and absolutely slams her into the apron, followed up with a massive clothesline on the outside. This time we come back from the adverts, and thankfully the match is basically where we left it. Nia is still in charge. Michin tries to pull an offense, but has been pretty well decimated by Nia. From nowhere, though, Michin comes back, mounts a pretty impressive few moves, even getting a near full cover. But then Tiffy intervenes, putting a kendo stick on the apron, and tries to distract the ref. Bayley gets rid of her. Michin gets another near full. Out of nowhere, though, Nia pulls off a Samoan drop, followed by the Annihilator, and Jax wins. Bayley, at this point, remembering that she's supposed to be a face, tries a sneak attack, which I don't see the logic in that, but she did sneak attack and is thwarted by Nia and Tiffy working together, and the heels stand tall at the end. As they're leaving the ring, Tiffany is clearly thinking about cashing in on the fallen Bayley, but Nia pulls her away, and she clearly has second thoughts. So I don't think this alliance is going to last very long, but I love it. This was a surprisingly great match. I think WWE are obviously trying to push Michin, and I'm totally here for that. She deserves a decent push, and hopefully by association, Bayley's title run will improve. Their chemistry feels slightly more believable than the chemistry between Naomi and Bayley, so hoping for good things all round. Fingers crossed here. We then cut to another moody-looking sepia vignette from the Bloodline. Solo says they had all the gold and it would have stayed that way if Roman hadn't gone soft. So it looks like Solo is doubling down on blaming Roman. Solo says this is why he has to have built a whole new family, one that's more ruthless, one that's more aggressive, etc., etc. He says the family will reign for decades, which it certainly seems likely at this point that they might. And now he is the new tribal chief, and everyone will acknowledge that by the end of tonight. The next match is a tag team match where we have Corbin and Apollo Crews versus Berto and Angel. We go to a break as they're partway through their walk downs. And then back from the break, we get a recap of the men's Money in the Bank match. And Byron is sitting down with Andrade. Interestingly, they are using the same approach here that they've used recently with Shinsuke Nakamura and more lately Damage Control, where they're bringing up subtitles at the bottom of the screen intermittently. Which I think is strong here, as Andrade moves between speaking English and Spanish. Carmelo Hayes interrupts, saying that he was the MVP of the match. Personally, I'm 100% disagreeing with that. I don't think he was at all. Carmelo bigged himself up, and Andrade says that Carmelo is next. And that should be a great match. Looking forward to that. Back to the ring. Back to the match, we are reminded of why this match has come about. Last Friday, Baron Corbin being disrespected by Legado del Fantasma about his failed cash-in. Before the bell, Baron and Apollo go on the attack, but the heels get the upper hand pretty quick. The commentary team remind us that Berto and Angel have been tagging forever. You can see that. They, as I think I've said before on this podcast, they got some great moves and you can tell they're a very natural tag team. However, Corbin and Crews are also a very impressive team. I don't know if they've tagged together much. I know Baron, like Michin, went to NXT for a while, so maybe I've missed that. They've got some really athletic moves, and it's shaping up to be a good match. Now we go to an advert, and I'm ready to be annoyed as we come back from the break, as the tables have probably turned. But wait, Wade then says, "Let's have a look what happened during the break. Well, you could have knocked me down with a feather. Thank you, WWE." So Berto is now in charge, but we've seen what happened, so we don't mind this. The crowd are very behind Corbin and Apollo, but Berto stays in charge with a sequence of predictably athletic moves. Corbin tries to mount a fight back and makes the tag, so we get two fresh guys into the ring, and Apollo takes the initiative, leading to a near cover, which was only broken up by Berto. Corbin clears house on the outside, whilst in the ring, Apollo takes on Angel. We then get Elektra Lopez causing a distraction on the apron, and Santos Escobar delivers an almighty knee to Apollo, allowing Angel to finish with a pin. Again, another very impressive match. Really, really enjoyed it. And quite excited to see what's happening in the tag team division here on SmackDown. We then go back to the backstage area where Chelsea and Piper are still waiting for Nick Aldis. When along come, as we all know, my favourites, Pretty Deadly, to see Nick Aldis to get the funding for their musical. Words you never thought you would say in a wrestling podcast. Piper, I noticed, is reading a book which says How to Start a Cult on the title page, which could be a reference to Wyatt Six or just a funny aside. Either way, I'm loving it. I'm loving this partnership. I think they're great. Pretty Deadly get sent in short order to the back of the line, and LA Knight comes out of Nick's office and he looks like he has a contract folder in his hand. Intriguing. And we're told that LA Knight is on his way to the ring. So we get another break. We come back from the break and Cody and Randy are talking backstage. Randy wants Cody to know that if he finds himself in a sticky situation tonight with the new bloodline, that he will always have his back. He references Kevin isn't there as he needs some time with his family, so assuming that Kevin's mum is still not in great shape. And Randy says that when this stuff with the bloodline comes to an end, and it will come to an end, there will be a whole queue of guys wanting a title shot. Now, at this point, I thought he was going to say, and I'll be heading the queue, but he didn't. He said he'll continue to have his back then. I'm not sure if I believe that. I think we can all see how wistfully Randy is eyeing up that title at every opportunity. So I'm pretty sure that once the bloodline stuff is done and dusted, at some point in the not so distant future, we may have a heel Randy taking on Cody, which again should be excellent. As promised, we get LA Knight come to the ring. Again, massive pop, huge pop. And he tells us Money in the Bank came and went. He isn't going to complain or bitch. Someone else got the contract. But we are taken back to a couple of weeks ago in the Money in the Bank qualifier where Knight pinned Logan Paul. I think now we know what is in the folder. US title match, SummerSlam, Knight versus Paul. Yes, I am totally up for that. That sounds awesome. He signs it. Nick Aldis has already signed it. This will be epic. He calls out Logan Paul to sign too, but surprise, surprise, he isn't there. I'm not a Logan Paul fan particularly, but I can appreciate what a talent he is and what a talent he's become, and how quickly he's become so good. What a match that will be, I think, at SummerSlam. I guess now we're going to have 3 weeks of the will he, won't he sign, but I think we probably know he will, and totally looking forward to it. Really, really can't wait. I think that'll be one of the highlights. Massive LA Knight fan. Really hope that he gets his flowers and gets his title shot. Sorry, gets his title. Now he has a shot. We cut to a quick vignette of Blair Davenport. I don't know about you guys, but she is very much giving me Paige vibes. I'm looking forward to seeing her in action. She makes her way to the ring for her match versus Naomi. We start off the match with Naomi taking the initiative, and I think, guys, here some of the camera angles seem to be a bit off, and we can quite clearly see that I don't know what it's actually called, but let's call it the butt wiggle move that Naomi has, makes absolutely no contact with Blair at all. Naomi stays in charge. We get a quick 2 count, but Davenport takes control. And again, another slightly dodgy camera angle shows us that no contact was actually made from the move off the top. Still Davenport in charge. Naomi sells her injured arm like a trooper. Come back from the break and pleasantly surprised to see nothing's changed. Davenport remains in charge with Naomi grounded and injured. Naomi battles back to score a near fall. Davenport takes back control with a Tree of Woe. What a great name. Love that. And has another near fall. We get a bit of back and forth. Then finally Naomi pulls off her finish and gets the win. A bit surprising, I think. Thought with Blair Davenport recently coming in, she would be on a big push. Thought WWE would continue that. Especially with Naomi being post Money in the Bank and being banged up in inverted commas from that, which we kept getting referenced about. So hopefully there is more to come from these two. They certainly had it in the ring, and they were, I think, let down by a couple of really dodgy camera angles. I'm very sure that won't happen again. So watch this space with those two. In our next match, we have the rematch, which is for the tag team champs, with Waller and Theory taking on DIY. Before that starts and we come back from the break, we cut to backstage and see Naomi bump into Jade and Bianca. They have a bit of a random chat about the tag team titles and a slightly weird interaction. They say Nick isn't here anyway, which causes a comedy strop-off from Chelsea and Piper, which again is funny. Love those two. And then Bianca and Jade toddle off, and Blair approaches Naomi and says the best person won, offers a handshake, only to come back seconds later and attack Naomi from behind. So we are not done with that, which is good. I can see them having several impressive matches and starting a good program. So back to the ring, tag team champs come, make their way down to the ring. They get a great reception. We start with a 4-way standoff. DIY getting off to a flyer, but things soon turn with Waller and Theory taking charge, following a weird move off the apron, which I think was a bit of a slip stroke botch. But it seemed to work, and they worked with what they had. Back from the break, Theory and Waller still in charge. Johnny gets back into the match brilliantly, takes on both men with some awesome moves, finishing off with a 2 count cover. DIY now in charge and demonstrating some of their brilliant tag moves. Waller helps out. Theory gets a really close cover. And the heels take over. They try and pull off DIY's finisher, meet in the middle, but they clash with each other, leading to a cover and the champions retaining. Pretty much short and sweet match, but again, full of quality, very enjoyable. I think DIY are going to have a reasonably long run. They seem to be very, very over with the crowd. Certainly not hearing any negatives about them on any social media. And they're a great team. The question is what will happen now between Waller and Theory going forward. We don't have to wait too long, as Theory is gobbing off at Waller, and he gets out of the way as Jacob Fatu appears from nowhere and takes out Theory. He then goes on to take out Gargano and Ciampa, and this guy is an absolute beast, and he just beats the hell out of them and pulls off some insanely athletic moves. I mean, he really is quite something. As you guys know, only follow WWE. I didn't know of this guy before he appeared on our screens. Obviously, I knew he'd signed and I knew he was coming, but I had no idea just how insane he is, and just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So clearly that was just for a starter, as now we get Solo. And I have to say here, I'm really enjoying the production of SmackDown, things seem a lot less stop and start, and they seem to flow. Obviously, Jacob Fatu was sent down to deliver some kind of message, but then that was on the previous tag team competitors who had no business with the bloodline, but that very then easily led on to a bloodline segment and Solo coming down. So instead of it being stop start, one story ends, another story begins, it's flowing really nicely, and I like that. It's these small things which are making the product much easier to watch and enjoy. So Solo stands in the ring, getting the hell booed out of him. He wants to be acknowledged. The crowd are not interested in that. He reminds us what happens to people who don't acknowledge him, and he runs through those who haven't. Paul Heyman, Jimmy Uso, Roman Reigns have all gone. The crowd chant for Roman, and Solo says if Roman comes back, he will acknowledge him as the tribal chief, as in Roman will acknowledge Solo as the tribal chief. He says tonight, though, is all about Cody and how he needs to acknowledge him. At which point Cody comes out, gets his usual amazing pop. People all singing along to his song. And Cody has his serious face on. I did think he was going to start with, "Hey, Solo, what do you want to talk about?" But thankfully he didn't. He just came out and starts straight away, straight-faced. He doesn't want to wait till SummerSlam. He wants to do it here and now. He is surrounded by the bloodline, and Cody tries to fight them all, but is very quickly overwhelmed. Randy makes his way to the ring and starts to beat down the bloodline, but in very short order gets completely flattened. The Tongans get stuck in, and Cody and Randy get beat down hard. Solo makes Cody watch while Randy gets put through the announce table. Absolutely brutal to watch. And we go off air at that point with the new bloodline standing tall. Real strong visual of Cody caught up in the ropes behind them. And they're all put the ones up in the air, and Randy absolutely decimated in front of us. So wonder if Randy is going to be out of the picture for a while here. It was kind of that level of beatdown. So guys, if we were in any doubt, I think we have our match for SummerSlam. And as we all know, the rules of wrestling, Solo has name-checked quite a few times now, the Usos, Heyman and Roman. So I think sooner rather than later, they will definitely be coming back, and we will have our showdown, which is obviously going to be old bloodline versus new bloodline. Roman's going to come back as a huge face. It's all building to something fab. And I really can't wait to see how it goes. We were reminded repeatedly tonight that we've only got 3 weeks to go until SummerSlam. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like the PLEs are coming fast and furious over this period. I'm not complaining. I'm absolutely loving the action, loving the stories. I feel very lucky at the moment to be able to talk to you guys about the product that we have. So a few really great matches set up for SummerSlam already. Looking forward to the next few weeks build, and let's see where we go. Still got some massive returns to come. We've got Charlotte, we've got Brock. We don't know where they're going to fit in as they come back to the product. But it's looking to be a very happy summer for all of us wrestling fans. So guys, that just about does it for this week's show. Once again, and as always, thank you for having me in your ears. And again, thank you for all your comments. Please reach out to me on Twitter or X. I am at Amanda SD Pod. I really appreciate your interactions on there. I hope you all have a great week. And until next time, remember, be kind.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.